Good afternoon, y'all. This is part two of the Chimney Rock video, the complete and utter devastation of a once popular town in the mountains of North Carolina, in near Asheville. In the last video, we talked about the damage and how much damage half of mountains washed, well, not washed away, but mudslide away. A river that ate up 200 yards of a lady's lawn where she was 200 yards away from the river, and it ate right up to her back door. And now out her back door, there's a 15 to 20-foot drop off, goes straight down. So let's talk about why that happened. Hurricane Helene went through that area, and because Hurricane Helene went through very slow and it basically stalled over that area for 2 to 3 days at rainfalls of 16 to 18 inches an hour, that it soon overtopped the levee for Lake Lure. The levee completely gave way. Lake Lure is now empty. Um, the one lady described being at taking her cat and dog to, well, she said two cats and a dog, to the post office across the street because she had parked her car across the street, and they were walking from her house to her car and to her husband's car to fill them up with stuff. And then at some point during those several trips, she noticed that the the water was almost up to her knees, and she told her husband, "We need to just get out of here." And they went, and she said the door to the post office opens out, and it opens out in the direction the water was going. So, well, not exactly. It would be out and to your left. And when she did, her one cat jumped into the water and up on a piece of debris, and she had to watch her cat flow down the river on a piece of debris. She grabbed the kitten and the dog, and they got into her car, and they headed up the mountain. She said they stopped at four different cabins that they know about going up the mountain. And at each cabin, there was structural damage. So they continued to go up until they found a cabin with a screened in porch with no damage. So they stayed in the screened in porch and rode out the storm. And when they drove back down to her house, she said she was not prepared for what she found. She found that there had been 10 feet of water inside of her house, yet her house is still standing. Other houses on that block are gone. So, grace be to the Lord that her house is still there. And her house seems to be very well built because When she showed out her backyard where she had had the lawn, the river had eaten away all of the lawn and all of the dirt, and there's a 15 to 20-foot straight drop off out her back door now. She said, I will rebuild right here because I don't want to live anywhere else. She's, I would call her young, like middle 30s. And so that's that's quite a shock. And let me get into something else that's going on in that area. You have good Samaritans that are that know the area, know the mountains, have their own helicopters, and were flying supplies into these little mountain towns. And the local assistant fire chief told one of the helicopter pilots after he had flown the lady out with their dog and was getting ready to go back to get her husband, the assistant fire chief told him, if you take off, I'm arresting you. You can't fly in the mountains. Because he said so. So the guy had to stand down or risk being arrested because he's a good Samaritan. He wasn't charging anybody anything. He said he was doing it for free. And you know what our administration is doing? Nothing. Joe Biden, yesterday, when he was asked about what else the storm victims can expect from him, he said, what storm? I don't know what storm you're talking about. And Kamala said that she was there with the victims, that she was going to offer them $750. Excuse me. These people lost their whole house, all of their belongings, their clothes, everything, and you think that $750 is going to replace that? You're on drugs. $750 will barely replace a single TV. Many of the houses have the 80-inch big screen TVs. Them are $498 plus you have the mount that's another $100 and so on. This is atrocious. Our government is re-victimizing these people by offering them $750 when it come out today that FEMA has been paying illegal aliens hotel rooms. FEMA is for our emergency management. It's Federal Emergency Management Agency, or administration rather. How come Mayorkas is giving illegal aliens money from FEMA, paying for their hotel rooms, paying this, paying that for them? And now he says, oh, I'm sorry, but there's no money. We don't have money for hurricane season. This is just outrageous, people. Completely outrageous. We can send 100 and 200 billion dollars to Ukraine for a war over there. And my attitude on Ukraine, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but it is, if they want weapons from us, they need to buy them. We shouldn't be giving them jack shit. And I'm speaking as a veteran. We should not be giving away weapons that we have to pay to replace. But that's the end of that rant. But this is just horrible. These, this, and it was explained to me in a different reason this morning on a podcast on YouTube. They said that the reason Kamala offered $750 because she doesn't care. Said these are Trump supporters, Trump voters. So she doesn't care because it's not affecting her block. I thought about that for a little bit and I thought, if that's true, that is beyond awful and it disqualifies her from being president because the president of the United States is president for all the people of the United States, not just the Democrat or Republican Party. You have President Trump taking money out of his own pocket and buying truckloads of supplies and taking it to people and giving it away for free. For free. He's not charging anybody anything. And that just shows how much he cares about the American people, that he would take money out of his own pocket and buy truckloads of supplies and take it to them. And he was in South Georgia yesterday, and then he was meeting with Governor Kemp today, and they are holding a press conference in a little while. But we need to wake up as a country and realize that Kamala Harris doesn't care about America. If she did, she would have left her fundraiser in Los Angeles the day after this was going on and would have flown back to DC to find out what was happening with his people. But she didn't leave for like 5 or 6 days. And this only happened a week ago. So let's do the right thing, people. Let's save our country. Talk to you soon. Bye.